Name is familiar. He did another home match this year, the May 27th match against Toronto FC 2. Rhinos will be in their secondary kits tonight, the white tops with the black shorts and white socks. FC Cincinnati in their primary all blue kits with orange and white panels on the front, blue shorts and blue socks. Rhinos working right to left here in the first half, pulling it quickly into the corner with Bradley Fayot, the defender out of Paris, France. Kenny Walker bringing some pressure, poking it out near touchline, and a throw-in coming for Rochester.
Good early start for Rochester, Tommy. Obviously, we'll talk about this as the game goes on, but two very evenly matched teams. Both solid in defense. I think the difference obviously will be tonight in attack. And we're hoping obviously FC Cincinnati have the edge on that.
Jordan Dover got a shot off. It was turned away by FC Cincinnati's back line. Same three center backs we saw last Saturday in the 3-0 win here at home, with Justin Hoyt in the middle, Harrison Delbridge to his left, and Austin Berry on the right. Today's injury report is presented by the Levy Law Offices. They turn your crash into cash. Tyler Pollock remains out with his foot injury, and Eric Stevenson picked up an ankle injury this week. So Stevenson not available tonight after playing 45 minutes in the international friendly against Valencia on Monday night here at Nippert. That was a fun affair with the La Liga side, who has now returned to Spain and actually made the trip over to England, where they'll continue their preseason. Valiant effort by FC Cincinnati in that one. And now back to work in league play as Harrison Delbridge intercepts in the midfield and pushes it forward onto the foot of McLaughlin.
Busy week for those FC Cincinnati players as well. You talked about obviously Valencia and the travel that they had to do, but just kind of the natural highs have gone through of the mental fatigue as well for FC Cincinnati players. Biggest benefit, it was a Monday, not a Wednesday, like a midweek game, but still a lot of recovery. I'm sure that was the focus for Alan and his staff this week with these players.
And tonight's match begins a crucial 3-match and 8-day stretch for Alan Koch and FC Cincinnati. Wednesday night at Miami FC, as Lindsay alluded to, and then back here next week for another crucial USL match. And what's on the line Wednesday night? Well, another home date for FC Cincinnati. If they can win at Miami FC in the Open Cup, they get to host New York Red Bulls in the semifinals of the Open Cup. Rochester sending it across the middle. Graf on the service. It was deflected away. Now a shot, and it ripples the net just wide as it came from the top of the 18. And a good look there from Ryan James. He just couldn't quite put it on frame.
Yeah, and you'll see this too. You talked about Graf there early. He's going to be a workhorse, really. Very similar player to Danny Koenig, but tracks that ball down, puts a good ball in, and an early chance for James.
Forward Johan Graf is tied for the team lead with 4 goals. Excuse me. Rochester is a team, they don't score as much as maybe some of the other clubs in the league, but they don't allow many. Only 16 goals allowed in 18 league games so far.
I think a big plus, of Rochester, how they are. They're very disciplined defensively. Tommy, you know it's going to be a game in transition tonight, and whether FC Cincinnati can attack early, don't allow Rochester to get back and get set in that defensive shape. And so that will be the thing to look for in those transitional moments. Can they play quickly, fast decisions, and keep the tempo high?
Well, and you could see as FC Cincinnati was working on their build-up there, Rochester quickly dropped 5 onto their back line to help with that defense. Poked out wide to the right side. Service in is deflected away by Harrison Delbridge. It'll be a throw-in for Rochester. Tonight's keys to the match are brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. And what do you have tonight, Kevin, for FC Cincinnati?
I think producing at this stage of the season is the first and foremost thing. You know, 2 teams tied for 6th. It's going to be big, obviously trying to battle for those 3 points. So the performance to go with that, I think, is huge for FC Cincinnati. And then the second thing that we just talked about, Tommy, is maintaining that clean sheet. You know, Mitch and the back line have done a great job of kind of preventing teams coming in here at Nippert and scoring goals. And tonight's not going to be any different.
Mentioned it right off the top, Mitch Hildebrand has been so strong all season long, but especially here at Nippert, where he has a 0.57 goals against average. He has 9 clean sheets, 3 in the Open Cup, and 8 at home. 9 overall, but 8 at home, 5 in USL play at home, 3 additional ones in the Open Cup. Hasn't allowed a goal in the Open Cup so far. And Dallas J played the first game against Cleveland AFC. All time here at Nipperty, 0.73 goals against average.
And stunning stats there you just went over. I think the biggest thing that Alan and probably Mitch as well will be happy with, I think he's become a lot more consistent this season. You know, he's making the saves that he should do. Yeah, we've seen some big moments. Obviously, the Chicago game's a game that comes to mind on that. And he's made some other spectacular saves during the season, but he's a guy that's, you know, as I said, it's been consistent, and that's a big thing for any team that wants to win a championship.
I was going to say, all those stats I threw out, none of which included the 3 gigantic saves he made against Chicago Fire, one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference, when they were here on June 28th in the Open Cup. Feels like that game was months ago at this point, just one. Kenny Walker battling on the near touchline. Late whistle comes from Guido Gonzalez, and a foul will be called on Bradley Camden Feo, the 6-foot defender. And Gonzalez is going to go over and have a quick chat with Feo, who just wrapped his arms around Kenny Walker.
And Kenny did a good job of winning the ball back, and Feo just obviously used his upper body strength a little bit and rolled him in. You've got to say, Tommy, so far I think Rochester have been the aggressor. I think they've had possession of the ball more. I think they're more, you know, any team that comes and plays as an away opponent or an away team, you know, you're thinking they're going to sit back and kind of try to get into a rhythm, but that's not been the case. They've been aggressive defensively. They've pressed straight away. So it's interesting tactic to see that from this Rochester team.
See Bob Lilly now in his 4th season leading the Rhinos, sending out some instructions to his side. Remember, this is a club just 2 years ago won the USL Cup with Pat McMahon, who's now on FC Cincinnati's roster in his 2nd season as a starter for that club. Ball played back to Mitch Hildebrand. Of course, there's been ownership change and other changes in the front office for Rochester since winning that title 2 years ago, but a club with a lot of history. Of course, they won an Open Cup in 1999. A rare feat for somebody not in Major League Soccer.
And Rochester obviously is a very strong soccer market too. You know, you talk about the professional team being around for a long time, but just even in the market, there's a lot of youth club and college as well. So they're bringing a lot of experience, and you know, a lot of these players as well bring that added experience.
Tonight's broadcast of FC Cincinnati is brought to you in part by UC Health. Matt Boehner inching forward as he gets set to throw it in and is urged back to his original spot. And now we'll put it onto the foot of GB. Tried a quick one-touch to Wiedemann, didn't find him. Rochester able to recover quickly. FC Cincinnati unable to bring much pressure offensively here in the first 8 minutes, as you said, Kevin.
Good step by Austin Berry. I like that too. You know, FC Cincinnati just good preventative shape. They want to try to win the ball back if they can in Rochester's half, and then from that, you know, can they possess? Can they possess more in the half where they create opportunities? I talked about it at the start. I think FC Cincinnati's attack is maybe a little stronger, so they want to make sure that they set themselves up for that.
Mentioned FC Cincinnati played Monday night against Valencia in the international friendly, and Allen was able to rotate his roster for that match. Kenny Walker forward for GB. Gomez comes over, keeps it alive. GB tried to somehow get it in front of the net, was unable to do so, and it will actually be a corner kick before GB got a piece of it. Tomas Gomez touched it last.
Good ball in by Kenny, and you know, GB's that type of guy that's going to chase anything down.
Ooh.
I think he does get that touch right on the line.
We'll have our first corner kick brought to you by the Levy Law Offices. Turn your crash into cash. Visit LevyLawOffices.com. And I agree with you, Kevin. I think the orange and blue got a favor there from Guido Gonzalez Jr. Walker will take the corner from the far side. Harrison Delbridge pinching forward, goes over his head, comes out to Wiedemann. He'll tee it up on his right foot and fire it about 3 feet wide to the left of Tomas Gomez.
Hard ball to hit. You know, he's probably 30 yards out. Comes down, he takes a good first touch to get it in front of him, but anytime, you know, you're driving a half volley from 30 yards out, it's hard to keep it on frame. Talked
about all the clean sheets this year for Mitch Hildebrand. Gomez leads the USL with 8 clean sheets in league play. He was the 2013 Big East goalkeeper of the year when he was at Georgetown, made 81 appearances for a couple of very good Hoya teams while playing in the nation's capital.
very impressive goalkeeper. You know, Tommy, we talked about before the game the skill set that he possesses. One thing for the viewer tonight, just watch how good he is technically with his feet. He's the type of guy that will start the attack for Rochester. Obviously, he does a great job of shot stopping and doing what he's supposed to on the defensive end, but he's a big key of how they build out of the back.
Ryan Felix has it come off his foot. Inside of the defensive third, FC Cincinnati will be able to hold the possession. Boehner trying to find Corbin Bone, cannot. Rhinos regain possession. Then they misplay it. Bone trying to take advantage. Up the left side, here comes Graf. Graf with Barry side by side. Barry, a sliding tackle to send it out near touchline.
Yeah, very important tackle too. Just another example of Graf here and kind of the menace and speed that he has. Test Austin really well. I think Austin does a great job of timing a tackle, gets across and puts the ball out for a throw.
Big defensive play from the veteran and Cincinnati native. 11th minute here at Nippert Stadium. We are scoreless between FC Cincinnati and Rochester. Service into the middle, headed away by Delbridge. Comes out onto the foot of Dover. Then McLaughlin trying to get forward is taken down by Dover. No whistle. Rhinos back to the attacking third. Out to the midfield, Farrell. And onto the back line where Rochester will restart their buildup. Over to the left, Graf. Comes out wide, Feo. Feo sends it into the middle, bounces dangerously to the foot of Graf. He puts it off the post and buries it. Justin Hoyt had fallen down, and the Rhinos, a thorn in FC Cincinnati's side, strike first.
Good finish by Graf. We talked about it early. You know, I think he probably started the quickest for Rochester. Just here's another look at this. This ball comes in. Does well to kind of get a flick on. Justin Hoyt maybe could have done a little bit better. Takes a touch. Good technique on the half volley. Just turns his hips well and strikes it in off the post.
Rochester victorious back on June 3rd. 1-0 over FC Cincinnati. Now, the club's lineup looked very different. That was amidst a wildly busy stretch following the Open Cup win against Louisville. And Alan Koch brought on maybe some of his second team guys to start in that match. There's a couple guys who aren't even on the roster right now who started that match. Victor Mansoret and Daryl Fordyce both started that game in Rochester, who are no longer with the club. So there was some rest given. Dallas J started the game, only allowed the 1 goal, but a 1-0 loss back on June 3rd. And this is one of the few clubs that FC Cincinnati has not been able to defeat in their 2 years in the league. They'll have to scratch from behind here at home, and plenty of time to do that.
Well, just like FC Cincinnati, you know, we're kind of getting on the roll. It's the same with Rochester too, you know. They're
undefeated in their last 5.
Yeah, as the season goes on, I mean, they're starting to hit form. So, you know, we all talked about tonight being a huge game, but I mean, it's going to be a tougher game now for FC Cincinnati, obviously, with conceding that early goal.
Pat Brennan from the Cincinnati Enquirer this morning in his match preview called it a 6-point match because of the swing, because these teams are in 5th and 6th place. FC Cincinnati ahead by a point, and obviously if a team were to win, they get 3. The opponent gets none, so a 6-point swing for the victor today. 14th minute, Rochester, thanks to Johan Graf, his now team-leading 5th goal on the season, makes it 1-0. Ryan Felix to Wall Fall. Back to Felix. Feo into the midfield. Boehner intercepts the pass. Boehner making the run is chopped down, and he'll get the foul call. Boehner with a little bit too much pressure coming in.
Yeah, obvious call. I think what Matt, Boehner's kind of drawn that foul, obviously, but I think what he's looking for is maybe that target to check in. There's been a couple of times the ball's been played wide. GB's not really being that active or that mobile. You know, that's a big part of trying to play through the middle third into the attacking third of finding that target's feet.
Josu looking far post for GB. Gomez got there first. Quickly will fire it out and onto the foot of Forbes. Bernardo Forbes has 2 goals and 4 assists on the season as he brings it to the attacking third.
These are going to be big moments, Tommy, here. The counter-attack, I think, you know, for any team that sets up really well defensively, you know, their biggest threat really is going to be that counter. Anytime they can win it back, they're going to try to attack quickly. And FC Cincinnati have got to do a good job of getting back and getting compact.
Feo across to the middle. It was headed down in the direction of Graf, who already has a goal tonight. Then deflected off of Justin Hoyt. And Rochester, already leading by a goal early, will have their first chance at a corner kick. All of tonight's corner kicks are brought to you by the Levy Law Offices. Turn your crash into cash. Visit LevyLawOffices.com today. Another great crowd on hand here at Nippert, in excess of 20,000. Would expect the final number to be around 23 or 24,000, hoping to see FC Cincinnati answer back after falling down early. First, they have to defend this corner. Swung in from the right of Mitch Hildebrandt. Kenny Walker deflected it away as Hildebrandt was moving in up into the Bailey. And another shot for Rochester.
Always a dangerous ball. Anytime that you're putting it in the front post, Forbes does a testing time, at least, Kenny Walker whipping that ball into the front to see how he deals with it.
Again, played short. Bounces out to Turgu. Mitch Hildebrandt makes a big save as he swats it away at the crossbar.
Anytime that they play short too, Tommy, they're going to look for a mismatch or maybe a target that does maybe a little bit better back to goal. On those 2 occasions now, it's been very intentional with the selection of pass or delivery.
Another corner from the near side. Across the middle, headed away by FC Cincinnati and all the way out into the midfield. McLaughlin trailing, trying to catch up with it. Finally, Gomez comes out to play it and sends it back out to midfield.
Good early ball.
Barry onto the left, Wiedemann. Wiedemann fighting for it at the last moment. Jordan Dover got there, the defender out of Canada. Tonight, making his 14th start of the season, Wiedemann will pull it over to the far side and set up for a corner. Now the 18th minute. Wiedemann and McLaughlin both were over there. Will walk away and allow Kenny Walker to come over and handle it. Big time opportunity here for the orange and blue.
Farrell came up with a big tackle there, Tommy, just to put that out for a corner. Austin did a good job of picking his head up and finding it early.
Walker looking near post as Harrison Delbridge diving across that 6-yard area. Couldn't quite get it. Gomez got to it first. Tonight's broadcast of FC Cincinnati is brought to you in part by your local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Volkswagen dealers. Boehner trying to get over to a ball played to the near side. Bernardo Forbes, the Jamaican, chasing it down. Flag went up far side. And we'll have tonight's first offside call. The home side wastes no time putting it back into play. Justin Hoyt playing in the middle of the 3 center backs. Back over to the right, Barry. Barry had a great ball to Wiedemann moments ago. Couldn't quite find him there. Then Wiedemann falls down right at the corner of the 18. Back up to his feet as he tries to collect himself. Boehner trying to feed one of his teammates, instead finds it on the foot of Feo.
The systems tonight, the matchup's going to be a key in this game as well, Tommy. FC Cincinnati are playing a 3-4-3. It almost looks like Rochester have kind of went into a 5-3-2. Try to counter that attack at least, or that setup by FC Cincinnati. Previous games they've been playing in a 4-2-3-1, so that certainly shows you some tactical intent as well.
FC Cincinnati 8 goals in their last 3 matches. That's the most explosive 3-match spurt for this club in its short 2-year history, and the first time the team has ever scored 3 goals in back-to-back matches. Andrew Wiedemann working up the right side, and no doubt Bob Lilly knows how dangerous this team can be offensively. Wiedemann touches it last as it rolls out right onto the flag in the corner. So a deep throw in for Rochester inside of their defensive third. In the direction of Graf, one back by FC Cincinnati into the midfield, and Hoyt will come over to play it. Left to Delbridge, now to McLaughlin. Josu back to Jimmy. Jimmy has it deflected away. And FC Cincinnati will get a chance to throw it in far touchline.
You just see here with the shape of Rochester, very, very compact. Now they're almost playing without any wide players.
Delbridge into the box. Jimmy trying to get his head on it. Gomez came up to collect.
Done a good job defensive, kind of getting connected and then automatically being able to apply pressure. Or even trap that FC Cincinnati attacker.
James. Back to the foot, a wall fall. The midfielder out of Frankfurt, Germany. McLaughlin loses the challenge in the midfield. Rochester to the attacking third. Bone will turn him away. Hoyt up to Walker and now McLaughlin.
Did well to break that trap.
Walker falls down as he gets booed on it. Rochester able to win it right back. Garzi. Forward to the right, foot of Forbes. Forbes with a right-footed shot, turned away, Justin Hoyt. Wiedemann does well to clear it out into the midfield.
I think a big thing here for GB is getting some extra support if he can. If he can hold that ball and be that target, then bring kind of Andrew Wiedemann, Kenny Walker, Corbin Bone into the game. These are guys that have been quiet so far, Tommy. It's tough. Anytime that you're playing that GB position as a number 9, you need support. You need, obviously, players playing off of you, coming alongside you or underneath you. And then trying to get possession back into that half.
Rochester out across the midfield. Austin Berry able to pull it down back for the orange and blue, and now Matt Boehner will throw it in right in front of his own bench. 23rd minute at Nippert Stadium. Tom Glader, Kevin McCloskey, Lindsey Patterson. Happy to be with you on a perfect night for soccer with another huge crowd here in Cincinnati. They're expecting probably around 24,000 when it's all said and done. And the locals right now, a little bit of wind out of their sail following the early goal from Graf.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about it. You've got to take your hat off to Rochester. I think they've done their homework. I think they came in with a tactical plan. They've changed things up a little bit. And so far, they've executed very well.
Graf found it on his foot at the corner of the 18. Well defended by FC Cincinnati. Mentioned a little bit of a change in the formation and starting 11 for Alan Koch tonight compared to last Saturday. Last Saturday was more of the 3-5-2 with Danny Koenig and Jimmy starting up top. Tonight he switches it, pulls Koenig out of the 11, McLaughlin back in, and the formation goes more to the 3-4-3.
Yeah. Biggest difference, I think, in this system of Rochester. Forbes is staying very high with Graf, so he's providing kind of those two target players. So both defensively and in attack, it's causing a lot of problems where, you know, an extra player comes in and creates a 3v3 against FC Cincinnati's 3 center backs.
Was coming in towards the foot of Forbes there, then cleared away by Harrison Delbridge. Josu taps it out into the stands, throw-in coming for Rochester.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Danny Koenig come in and then really go systems match for match. Still early days with Tommy.
Josu trying to turn it back up the pitch. Turgu was there to commit the foul. That's his second foul here in the first half. Plenty of options on the bench today for Alan Koch as we looked around the team room during the meeting at 5:30. A very strong 18 once again for FC Cincinnati's manager when you have Aiden Quinn, Kadeem Dakers, Danny Koenig all to turn to. Then newcomers Kyle Gregg, Kevin Schindler, and Sem DeVitt.
I mean, quality throughout, you know, the competition, and we've seen it in training these past 2 weeks, being very, very strong. tough at times for a coach, obviously making that decision. It could be a bit of a nightmare, honestly. But, having those options, I think it's the strongest squad FC Cincinnati's actually had in the history of the franchise.
Corbin Bone with pressure on has to tap it over to Hildebrandt. Back out to the left, Harrison Delbridge. Delbridge was fouled as he sent it to Hildebrandt. Mitchell was trying to put it in deeper in the defensive third than Guido Gonzalez liked, so start it over again. Delbridge across midfield looking for GB. A bit wide for the Senegalese striker. Rochester will find a throw in.
I think the challenge the back three have right now, Tommy, are trying to find those exit players that can kind of break Rochester's trap. So now reverting to that ball over the top to try to find GB. That's a tough job for a single forward.
Make sure you stay tuned at halftime. We'll have a feature on Rio Grande All-American Paul Nicholson. I'm happy to be alongside a Rio Grande All-American each and every night we bring you these broadcasts.
I thought for a moment you had footage on me.
Well, don't count that out yet.
Yeah. Wow.
Might make a drive out there at some point and see what I could dig up. It is 80s night, so
black and white.
Players from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Graf back heels it over to Turgu. Turgu trying to get it forward. And a goal kick coming from Mitch Hildebrandt as it rolls out along the end line. See Alan Koch working on his team's tactics here in the first half. Hildebrandt taking his time, waiting to put his right foot onto it. Tonight, the fourth meeting between these two clubs. Rochester has won 2 of the previous 3, and the one here at Nippert Stadium last season ended in a draw. Flag up on the near side as GB made contact with Feo, and GB's going to get a yellow card off the recommendation from the linesman on the near side.
I think already Alan Koch has made a change in his system. Looks like he's went to a back 4 of Matt Boehner, Austin Berry, Harrison Delbridge, and Justin Hoyt. And then just saw that switch coming over with Jimmy coming over to this right-hand side. I don't think that's a yellow card
by any stretch of the imagination. Was there contact? Sure, but it wasn't deliberate. He's going to play the ball.
That's a harsh call.
Came from the linesman right in front of Rochester's bench.
I mean, it's, yeah, tough one.
For GB, it's his 2nd yellow card of the season. So he is not in danger of a yellow card accumulation suspension, but now playing on a yellow card here in the 28th minute. Of course, when you have 11 goals on the season, you become a big target for the opposing teams.
Yeah.
Saw it last year with Sean Acoli as he chased the Golden Boot, ended up winning it in the USL. Plenty of extra contact coming in on every challenge with number 9 last year, and it's been the same for the Orange and Blue this season.
I think also, GB's that physical type player, and anytime that you're a defender,
here's McLaughlin. He chips it by Gomez, and FC Cincinnati has tied it up. The bow and arrow from the youngster in the 29th minute. Second goal in as many weeks for number 20 in Orange and Blue.
Well, we talked about the difference. Alan made that switch early with his systems, and already it's paid off. Jimmy was able to get in between the 2 defenders. Poor defending on Rochester, you've got to say. And anytime that you're going to give Jimmy McLaughlin that window, he's not going to miss.
McLaughlin's 3rd of the season, and that brings the fans to life here at Nippert Stadium. 1-1 in the first half. You mentioned it, and we showed it. Here's Josu. Josu with his left foot headed away by Farrell, and boy, all of a sudden FC Cincinnati looks like a different club.
Well, it goes back to just that change. Fantastic decision by Allen to go back into a 4-back. Okay, so they're probably playing now more a 4-4-1-1. But the biggest advantage with this system change, they have 2 players on each side to create a 2v1 advantage. So very hard for Rochester then to fall back into that. You've seen Josu, who's the outside left wing, and Jimmy McLaughlin, outside right wing, already created a lot of havoc from that.
Kenny Walker on the corner. Tomas Gomez, that has to be a yellow card. Gomez fires the ball towards the Sounds off his left foot. If GB got a yellow card for a slight hand to the face, and that's not a booking, wow. So Tomas Gomez will not pick up a yellow for firing the ball up towards the stands after being upset with himself.
Yeah, definitely a corner kick. You can feel the momentum shifted already, Tommy. Obviously that goal's brought Nippert into life.
Walker over the head of Barry, bouncing around off of Rochester, and actually I was going to say it touched one of the FC Cincinnati players last, so a goal kick here for Gomez, but no doubt brought life. And you saw Alan Koch, great job by our production crew, showing him right there at that goal kick when Mitch was holding it and waiting it. You could see him barking out instructions, and that's where the change came and immediately resulted in a goal.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. You know, he's looking at it. Anytime that you set up on lines, he's got to do the math and say, all right, are we getting anything from this? Is it hurting us? And from that, he's going to make a decision. I think, too, you're starting to sense a little bit of frustration with Rochester, particularly Gomez, the goalkeeper.
No doubt. He misplayed coming off his line on the ball that Jimmy scored, as McLaughlin was able to slide it past him. Tonight's broadcast of FC Cincinnati is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Chevy dealers.
A little bit of a different game than 5 minutes ago, Tommy.
Yeah. Poked away out to the near touchline. Throw in coming for Rochester. Feo throwing it in. Garzi trying to turn it across the middle. Ball played out in the middle. GB unable to come away with it. Now he fights for it and is going to be called for a foul as he knocked down Farrell.
I think he just caught him from behind.
All of our sideline reports are brought to you by your local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Volkswagen dealers. Let's head downstairs and check in with Lindsey Patterson.
You guys were talking about Allen changing some things up out there, and before that Jimmy goal, he was going to his bench, talking to his assistants more than I've ever seen him in the first half.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lindsey. Obviously, they see a little bit of a chess match right now with Bob Lilly, who has great experience coaching Rochester, obviously. And Alan Koch, who's done a fantastic job managing the club this year, saw an opportunity to make a big move early, and it's paying off as the match is tied at 1 apiece. Kenny Walker tripped up in the midfield. I think he wanted the advantage to be played. The orange and blue will quickly put it back into action. Delbridge's service down the middle. Nobody home there as he split it between Josu and GB. Graf with a goal in the 12th minute. McLaughlin is third of the season in the 29th minute. And we are at 1-1 in an action-packed first half. Barry working it into the midfield, off to the right foot of Bone. Corbin Bone with pressure coming from behind will get rid of it to Boehner.
Just such a difference now with possession, just the options as well. There's different little angles here to penetrate and break the lines of Rochester.
Out wide for Hoyt. Into the middle, Josu. Threads the needle to Wiedemann. Back to McLaughlin. On to Wiedemann to his right foot. Corbin Bone with a shot, and Gomez makes a huge save.
Great phase of play there. Probably highest pass count. Lovely little give and go. Corbin does a great job of getting it on frame too. But just that play in before with Jimmy and Guida shows that great understanding that they have with each other.
Saw there why Tomas Gomez is such an important part of the puzzle for the Rhinos. Josu is fouled hard in midfield. Guido Gonzalez is going to go over to check on him and have a conversation with Joseph Farrell. So Gonzalez again decides not to go to his pocket and issue a card.
Rochester, as I said before, Tommy, starting to get a little bit more frustrated now. Some late hits coming in.
Rochester 6-1-3 at home on the season. They are 1-2-5 on the road and have not won on the road since April 1st in their season opener at Bethlehem. Hoyt sends it to the middle. GB trying to get the header, and Gomez came over his back to grab it.
Just another thing with Gomez, how good he is in the air with his hands as well. You know, that effort just before this play with Corbin Bone, not only did he save it, he caught it. And just that last play going up with a big, strong GB. Great hands by Gomez.
Turgu working it up to Forbes. Forbes out wide, and Rochester, who hasn't been in their attacking third for what feels like about 10 minutes, was there momentarily. Kenny Walker with other ideas. You know, we talked about it last week off the air after the match, Kevin, that maybe that goal from Jimmy McLaughlin coming out after that second weather delay, scoring the third goal. Would it mean a whole lot in the game? No. But maybe long term it would, because he was the guy who had been on frame so much this season but hadn't buried one.
Yeah.
And now he got his third of the season and second in as many Saturdays.
Great point, Tommy. Yeah, 100%. I think he's a guy that's been in and about it for FC Cincinnati. Created some very dangerous attacks, and maybe last weekend or last Monday actually was probably the confidence boost that he's needed.
And you'd have to think that Corbin Bone's another guy knocking on the door of those opportunities. I thought he was going to get his first of the year right there, but Gomez had other plans.
Yeah.
37th minute now here in the Queen City.
See if they can sustain this momentum now in this attack here for the remainder of the half. See if they can sneak another goal.
Rochester plays it forward in the direction of Austin Berry. No problem for FC Cincinnati's captain. To the foot of Bone. Now Walker. Down the right side to Boehner. Tried to get into the middle. McLaughlin could not. Cleared away, but right back to Bone. Walker forward, was looking for Josu. It skips past Josu, trying to get to it right at the end line. Touched last by Rochester. Corner kick coming up for FC Cincinnati. Late first half and a chance to take the lead.
Again, another just reflection of Josu being more involved. Coming all the way from the left-hand side and trying to get into that pass.
Josu will take it from the right. And sends it across into the middle. GB unable to get to it before Gomez once again.
I think that's one thing Alan's probably going to talk and remind them at halftime. You know, with a solid goalkeeper like Gomez, you've got to test a little bit differently. Maybe play short, or, you know, similar to what Rochester did in the first, 5-10 minutes. Can you play maybe near post? Anything inside of a 6, he's going to be very, very comfortable.
Graf battling with Delbridge down the right side. Rolls off after touching Harrison's boot. Throw in for Rochester inside their attacking third, and Delbridge will quickly clear it away. Out to Garzi. McLaughlin looking to chip it forward. Can GB track it down? GB doesn't get there before Wall Fall, who heads it back to his goalkeeper. Well, we've seen both goalkeepers have to make a big save here in the first half. Mitch had the one he knocks right over the crossbar, and then Gomez had the one a few minutes ago on Corbin Bone. As I look out across the stadium, I see they've started to allow fans who arrived late to sit in the upper deck on the far side, which means the number tonight probably going to be around 24,000 for this USL match on a perfect Saturday evening. Sunsplash Nippert Stadium.
Are you surprised by those numbers, Tommy?
Not in the least. Wiedemann trying to hook up with McLaughlin. McLaughlin tapped it forward too strong. Gomez will get the goal kick, but no, not by any means. I was a little bit surprised when I saw the 20,000 number come out early on Friday. I knew it would be another great crowd. And FC Cincinnati, if they have over 22,810 today, which I'm pretty confident in because I had heard at about 4 o'clock 22,000 were out. But if it's over 22,810, it will push FC Cincinnati's 2017 league attendance average to 20,000 per game.
I think the biggest significance with that too, Tommy, and tonight as well, especially of driving it, there's so much on the line for this game. You know, looking at Rochester, the fan now is looking. They've engaged, obviously, the community.
Absolutely.
They're keeping track of the table and the scores. And seeing this matchup tonight certainly has intrigued a lot of people.
Feo into the middle. Bone will turn it away. If you took that attendance average of 20,000 per game and dropped it into Major League Soccer today, FC Cincinnati would have the 11th highest average attendance in Major League Soccer, which would be middle of the pack. City has showed up once again. Josu out to Hoyt, back to Josu. He'll battle along the left side, double teamed. Has it poked away. Wiedemann into the middle, Walker. Walker turns on it with nifty footwork. FC Cincinnati will work on the build-up.
Much better possession.
McLaughlin on the right, trying to send it into the middle. GB on the collision, and if GB gets booked here, and he's going to.
He's going to get sent up.
And GB just got a red card for a second yellow. Wow, 42nd minute, a 1-1 game. The first yellow was egregious. And I don't think he did much here either, Kevin.
I've got to say it again, Tommy. You know, it's my gut feeling was no. I think Fall certainly made it look like he was impacted.
So GB's going to be suspended for the second time this year. He had a 6-match suspension earlier this season. Let's see.
No, there's no way. Listen, that's a 50-50 ball. The ball's there to be won.
Guido Gonzalez is having a tough night, folks.
You know, here's the thing. Did it hurt Fall? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he drives through the bottom of GB's foot. That is nowhere near a yellow card.
Neither was the first one.
That's a tough call. Tough break.
So FC Cincinnati playing so well since the change in formation now will play a man down for the remainder of the match. We're in the 43rd minute. It's 1-1 and GB just got sent off.
As I said, I think legitimately, I think Fall's hurt. He drives through the bottom. Obviously the cleats, you know, are showing there a little bit from GB, but when he gets a touch on the ball, that's a bad call.
Well, you hate when the match official becomes the story. And unfortunately, that's the case here in the first half. Right? Yeah, I mean, you have a great match between two teams that are in 5th and 6th place.
Now,
and Guido Gonzalez has completely ruined that.
Yeah. Anytime that's a difference in the game, it's a shame.
He took the linesman word on the first yellow card when there was contact to the face, but it was incidental in the run of play. And then pulls a second yellow on GB here to give Rochester the man advantage. Alan Koch is furious on the home bench, and rightfully so. Turgu. And you can hear 20,000 plus here in the Queen City, not happy as well.
Well, just like you said, Tommy, it totally changes the game, right?
100%.
The fans are just as frustrated as Alan Koch and the rest of this team.
You've seen 2 plays from Rochester, more egregious than the 2 from GB, and no booking on Rochester. Now Josu's going to get a yellow card.
Yeah, that's a yellow card.
No doubt. And he needs to be careful. Austin Berry's going to come over to get him. That was a frustration play there by Josu. Josu picks up his first yellow card for FC Cincinnati.
It's a yellow card. He hits him from behind.
Yep, right in the back of the Achilles.
No doubt about it. I think the point here, Austin Berry has just went over to the referee and argued that the last tackle from Rochester, I think it might have even been Graf on Austin Berry, but he went in 2 foot and nothing. So, biggest thing, you've got to be consistent. I don't think FC Cincinnati are getting much right now.
Alan Koch voicing his displeasure. I can promise you Guido Gonzalez cannot hear it over the boos at Nippert Stadium right now. Wildly disappointing situation considering the highly contested match we'd seen thus far. Wiedemann will work up the middle. To Josu, back to Wiedemann. FC Cincinnati with their backs squarely against the wall, tied at 1 apiece. 2 minutes of stoppage time coming. Onto the foot of McLaughlin. Corbin Bone trying to get a shot off. Rochester turns him away. Chance of FCC begin in the Bailey as the fans trying to give their team some energy before heading into the locker room.
Such a shame. You know, it was building up to be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Like anything but Tommy, I mean, there's a lot of time left.
Yep.
Another couple of twists to this, the story of this game.
Interesting to note, Rochester defeated Toronto FC 2-0 on Wednesday at home in a match that Toronto had a player sent off in about the 25th minute. So they were able to get a victory playing a man up in that match. Goal kick coming here from Mitch Hildebrand about halfway through stoppage time.
First things first for Alan, you know, the call's done. You can't get hung up on the frustration part of it. Just the level of adversity that he's got to get through. He's got to go in halftime, set up defensively. He's got to scrap this current game plan and get a new game plan ready. See if he can obviously try to keep the score at this, and then the longer the game goes on, can he try to get something from it?
Barry looking to head it forward. Boehner can't get there before it's sent out by Rochester. See, Cincinnati will get a chance to throw it in. There won't be a whole lot of time here. And on the throw in, the whistle comes from Guido Gonzalez Jr., who's had a horrific first half. And we'll get to head to the locker room. As always, FC Cincinnati out of the locker room. They will play a man down for the final 45 minutes, tied at 1 apiece. And Kevin, all of a sudden, where you felt like the orange and blue had the momentum in the match, we're knocking on the door of taking the lead for the first time. And now, if you're going to play a man down for the rest of the way, a tie suddenly feels like a win.
Yeah, it's certainly a massive curveball, obviously, for Alan and his team. I felt like they adjusted really well in the second half to kind of shift momentum. Now, like you said, Tommy, a point in this situation, it's a good result. You know, can they nick something else? That would be fantastic. The key is not conceding a goal, though.
Wiedemann sent it into the middle for Bone and went behind him. Josu cleans it up and gives it over to Hoyt. The red card came in the 42nd minute, so FC Cincinnati just had to survive a few minutes, and then we're able to go into the locker room and adjust. Wall-Fall plays it forward, and every time Wall-Fall touches the ball now, he's going to get a chorus of boos. And you said it at the time. He probably was hurt on the play, but there was nothing dangerous about the way that GB played the ball. They both played a 50-50 ball, and their feet collided.
No, I mean, for Fall, look, he's trying to clear the ball. He doesn't even see GB coming in, and it's kind of unfortunate on his part that he's getting a lot of stick. But you know, I think what the fans are reacting to is kind of that initial shock where he dropped and he's rolling around. But make no mistake about it, I mean, it was definitely going to hurt. I think the most disappointing thing is it's just a bad call, Tommy.
Yeah,
you know,
no doubt, and it takes away from what has been a fantastic match with a huge crowd here at Nippert Stadium. Matt Boehner makes a defensive play, gets it forward to McLaughlin onto the foot of Wiedemann.
This is kind of now it's your back to goal play has got to be really good. Playing without a natural target. Wiedemann's kind of going to have to try to do a job with that almost as like a false nine.
Be interesting to see how Allen manages his 3 substitutions through the second half. Of course, he has Danny Koenig on the bench, a true 9 if he wants to go to him, as well as Kyle Gregg. Now, important to note, GB will be eligible on Wednesday when FC Cincinnati plays at Miami FC in the Open Cup. He was able to play in early Open Cups when he served a 6-match suspension earlier in the season. Then he would not be eligible to play against Orlando City B a week from tonight here at Nippert Stadium. Wallfall, you know, every time he touches the ball tonight.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like in a basketball game. If you put up an air ball and you're an opposing player, you're going to hear that chant the rest of the way. Wallfall is going to hear a chorus of boos every time the ball comes to his foot.
It's kind of interesting just to see, you know, Rochester haven't changed any shape yet.
They have plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, I would expect with that number advantage that they're going to try to take a player out of the back and maybe go to a 4 at the back and put that extra player maybe in midfield or even up top and try to create a higher number advantage in a more threatening position.
Fall push it forward. Bone intercepts the pass. Wiedemann turns it back to Delbridge. Playing a man down, FC Cincinnati will have to show patience here in the second half.
Yeah. Anytime that they can regain possession as well, just, you know, they've got to be okay with a boring build-up, really. You know, the fans are not going to be thrilled about it, but
no,
they've got to be intelligent here. They can't give the ball away and have to defend the entire time. It's just not going to work.
And when the opportunities come, they're going to have to make sure they have the preventative coverage such that Rochester can't turn it around and quickly move left to right the other way.
Exactly, yeah.
Allen preaches that 11v11, even more important here. McLaughlin will bring it back to Delbridge. FC Cincinnati in their traditional blue kits working right to left. Hoyt going to push up the left side. Poked out along the touchline. Josu comes over to quickly throw it in. Then he'll leave it for Hoyt. To the foot of Walker. Josu picked up a yellow card shortly after GB was sent off. Bones sent it forward, trying to get it to Wiedemann. Didn't quite reach him. Justin Hoyt is fouled on the left side. A collision, and Hoyt's picking up the yellow card. So Hoyt and Farrell collide. Guido Gonzalez pulls his 4th yellow card on FC Cincinnati. We have yet to see one on Rochester.
You know, it's tough. I think the referee just on that, he's protecting the player more with a head injury. It's not a yellow card.
My man Kevin McCloskey starting to sound like a broken record here tonight. And I can't argue with you.
You know, Tommy, look, you want to make sure that anytime that you're giving a call and trying to give the viewer at home kind of perspective, it's when it's that blatant or obvious, in my opinion, it's a bad decision. I think you've got to let them know. You know, it's one of those things. I think Justin Hoyt on that was trying to go in shoulder to shoulder. I think it's a foul. It's certainly not a yellow card, though.
Boehner trying to save it on the end line, cannot. Corner kick coming up for Rochester amongst the chorus of boos once again. Interesting to note, if you're thinking, could this match end up even at 10 players apiece? Sure, it could. Rochester, however, is one of the few teams, only 6 clubs this season in the USL without a red card. And Rochester is one of those 6 clubs. They have only picked up 26 yellow cards across the season, which is tied for 5th best in the league. 52nd minute, we're tied at 1 apiece. Corner kick from the far side of the pitch comes across the middle. It's cleared away by Kenny Walker. headed out near side. FC Cincinnati will throw it in. Tonight's broadcast of FC Cincinnati is brought to you in part by the Montgomery Inn.
I think a couple of things, obviously, as far as the game plan, what to look for in the second half. You know, set pieces are going to be huge. Anytime that you can get up into the attacking third and try to create a dangerous situation off a set piece, that always gives the team without that extra player an advantage, or at least an opportunity to score. And then the second thing, we talked about the strength of the squad.
Yeah,
that's going to be big too with the rotations. What players come in, because you know all 10 players right now are very capable, plus a capable bench. So as far as effort and work rate, you know, you're going to see that from the 10 on the field. Plus, you've got players to bring in. So those, for me, will be the two biggest keys in the second half.
Oh, most of the guys who are out on the pitch right now did not play many minutes on Wednesday in the friendly. So pretty much everybody is rested. Service across the middle, picked up far side of the 18 by Rochester. Looking to go back on top. Ryan James, shots turned away. James heads it down to the foot of Feo. Challenge there by McLaughlin. McLaughlin will take it off his foot, and then McLaughlin will be cut down. Instantly gets up into the face of Feo, and there's a yellow card, much to the joy of the fans here in Cincinnati. Bradley Camden Feo is the first Rhino to go into the book.
And probably really the first reckless challenge that you've seen from Rochester. I take that back.
No, did Josu play?
I take that back.
Yeah. The Josu yellow card, we had no problem with.
I think, yeah, I was talking more about Rochester. I take that back. The incident that I talked about on Austin Berry.
Right.
The two-footed tackle, I think that was the only other kind of reckless. Regardless, nobody wants to see this, Tommy. Nobody wants these yellow cards. These stoppages, it's killed the game already. You know, you're not able to get into a flow. Either team's not able to get into a flow.
And like you said, now FC Cincinnati is forced into a slower, more boring build-up.
Exactly. Which
will result in many fewer opportunities here the remainder of the match.
Yeah.
Ball into the middle off the foot of Turgu. Hoyt looking to track it down, pokes it out on the near sideline. Dover touches it back to Farrell. Farrell's pass off the line, and a goal kick coming for Hildebrand. Talked about it at the end of the half. All of this is certainly ruined what was a really competitive first 42 minutes between two clubs sitting in 5th and 6th place in the Eastern Conference. Delbridge out to the right, off the head of Boehner. Comes forward for Wiedemann, trying to chase it down in the corner with public enemy number 1. Wall fall there. And Wiedemann, despite his best efforts, unable to play it off a fall.
Yeah. Those attempts too, a lot of wasted energy for the FC Cincinnati players. You know, they're going to have to pick and choose their times when to run the balls down. The message from Alan will be, hey, get back into your block, make sure you got your shape.
Tomas Gomez, who made a big save on Corbin Bone before GB was sent off to keep it at 1-1, sends the goal kick out into the midfield. What Alan Koch said at halftime that stuck with me is that his club has overcome adversity all year long.
Of course.
No reason anybody should count out the orange and blue here.
No.
Boehner plays it off his chest. Bone will clear it.
I think that's the approach too you've got to take as a coach. You can't give your players excuses. You know, the frustration's there, but it's got to be gone. You know, you can't have on to or let and allow your players to kind of moan and complain about as the game goes on. It's a distraction. You got to roll the sleeves up and get on with it.
All of the FC Cincinnati subs warming up in earnest right now down to our left, so certainly something to keep an eye on over the next 10 to 15 minutes, what Alan Koch decides to do in that regard. Playing a man down here in the 57th minute. Graf got the action started in the 12th minute with his 5th goal of the season to make it 1-0. Then GB had a yellow card in the 27th minute. McLaughlin tied it in the 29th minute, his 3rd goal of the season. GB sent off in the 42nd minute with a second yellow. That is where we stand at 1 apiece. Here on a picture-perfect Saturday night for soccer.
One thing that surprised me just from Rochester, very patient build-up, Tommy. We talked earlier about kind of the shift in the number and trying to use it as an advantage, but even just the decision, it's been very methodical, almost.
Dover sends a cross. That's too strong and then cleared away by FC Cincinnati. The third member of our broadcast team is Lindsay Patterson. Her sideline reports are brought to you by your local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Volkswagen dealers. Let's head down to the pitch and check in with Lindsay.
Guys, another thing that was expressed in the dressing room at the half, when things get heated out there, do not talk to the officials. Use discipline. Stay focused on us. Your job is taking care of the ball.
Thank you, Lindsay. Ball skips off the chest of Forbes. I think he caught his hand, so a handball in the box there will be called on Rochester. And a free kick coming up for Mitch Hildebrand. Yeah, certainly an important point there, because now you have Hoyt and Josu, two key members of this club, playing on yellow cards as well. Josu was very upset after his, and clearly his play was a frustration play, picking up the yellow. Austin Berry had to come over and pull number 99 away. And no doubt a lot will be on Austin Berry, Kenny Walker, another leader there, and a veteran on the pitch to keep everybody organized and calm, cool, and collected here in the second half.
Yeah, I'm sure that's in Alan's thoughts right now. You know, those players that you just talked about on yellow cards, with how the game's gone so far, and obviously the referee's inclining to, you know, kind of throw out cards. It's something that Alan's going to watch. He's going to manage it. Maybe that's a reflection of how those substitutions come in.
Hildebrand out into the midfield. Guess who? Wall fall, holding it in the midfield. Onto the left side, Feo. No doubt Rochester methodical out the way. They're setting up their attack right now. Feo lets it roll by. Rochester into the attacking third. Turgu stepped over it. Now Feo will service it across. Comes off the forehead of Hoyt. Rolls out near touchline. Throwing in the attacking third for Rochester.
Well, it's interesting just talking about Rochester too, and we talked about this at the very start, Tommy, if you remember. You know, they're a very solid team defensively, but they've not scored a lot of goals. I think the patient build-up right now is kind of suiting FC Cincinnati. You know, it's like, hey, you're not making us chase. We're into a good block. We like this. You're not threatening us too much. You know, we're happy for you to kind of just be patient in your build-up.
Well, you wonder what changes Bob Lilly might make in tactics to try to push this game. He's going to make his first sub of the match now and bring in Xavier University product Jalen Brown, a midfielder at 5'10". He'll come on for Michael Garzi. Haven't said his name much tonight. And this will be the match's first substitution. Brown played for the Musketeers 2013-16, so this is his first career, or first year as a pro. 14 goals for Xavier in 80 appearances, and he comes on for the 12th time this season for the Rhinos. Wiedemann battling far side. McLaughlin pulls down the ball that shot up straight into the air. Then Ryan James brings it back. Hoyt between two players. You saw his hands go up there.
Exactly, yeah.
He was not looking to pick up a second yellow there on a tricky challenge. Graf trying to send it in the middle, puts it off the face of Austin Berry, and we'll have another corner kick brought to you by the Levy Law Offices, where they turn your crash into cash. Visit LevyLawOffices.com today. Bernardo Forbes will go over to take it, the midfielder from Kingston, Jamaica. Will set to cross it with his right foot in the 62nd minute. Forbes into the middle. Delbridge heads it away. Rochester trying to keep it alive. Turned away by FC Cincinnati. Then Josu is knocked down at the edge of the defensive third. No whistle from Guido Gonzalez. And now Guido Gonzalez is going to call Josu over for a conversation after the fact. Kenny Walker, one of those veterans I just spoke about moments ago there, to make sure it doesn't get too heated. And Josu threw his hand in the air asking why there was no call when he was tackled.
I give up on understanding it, honestly. But
is a legitimate question, but he didn't show up the official by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Right side service comes from Jalen Brown as he just checked into the match. Too long for the Rhinos. Out into the midfield, Forbes, with Wiedemann trailing him.
Forbes, a very influential player for Rochester. Obviously, he's a big part of their attack, especially on set pieces too. He's got that wicked delivery.
Wiedemann trying to push it forward with Josu. Wiedemann's taken down with 3 white jerseys around him, and it's going to be Rochester ball.
It's tough. You know, Alan's asked for the players not to get frustrated. Gets his heels clipped here.
And there's
like
an arm on his back.
Yeah.
It's not a yellow card, it's a foul.
Yeah, it's a foul. Tommy, I wish we could get back to talking about soccer, you know, instead of,
Guido Gonzalez is not allowing that. I'm ready to talk soccer the rest of the way. Our match official apparently has other plans. Kenny Walker having a conversation with Guido after that last call. To quote Alan Koch, all of this is bloody disappointing.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know any other way to put it.
Yeah.
And I hate, as a broadcaster, to talk about the match official, really at all, let alone as much as we have tonight. It takes away from the game.
Yeah. I think an interesting stat, not just yellow cards, would be fouls committed at the end of the game. See that total tally.
Tonight's broadcast of FC Cincinnati is brought to you in part by your local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Volkswagen dealers. It's one way to talk about something else.
There you go.
Keep handing me the sponsorship cards, Kyle. That'll get the attention off Guido.
We love Volkswagens.
Back to Gomez. Haven't said Tomas Gomez very much because FC Cincinnati can't get anything going into the attacking third, playing a man down. 65th minute, tied at 1 apiece here at Nippert. Ball sent across the middle, headed away by Delbridge. Josu's going to put his hands in the air after a foul was called. Guido Gonzalez is going to call over Josu for yet another talk. I think Alan Koch is going to have to take Josu out of the match.
Well, he has no choice.
Yeah, he just looked down the bench.
He has no choice.
Danny Koenig's going to come on. I'd have to imagine he's coming in for Josu, and they're going to change things around here.
Well, to be honest as well, Tom, I think Danny Koenig just coming in naturally, I think is a good move at this stage of the game. You know, I think Josu's a good player and a fantastic player, but you know, athletically, he's not going to be the type of player that's going to give you much more than what he has. Danny Koenig coming in is going to give you that physical presence. Apart from the obvious that he's on a yellow card.
And been involved in 2 conversations now with Guido Gonzalez in the last 3 minutes. You can see Austin Berry had a long conversation with Guido. He said, let's get it going here. Now Koenig is set to come in, and FC Cincinnati trying to get him in before play resumes. I did get word that he will indeed replace Josu, and now here comes the signal from the 4th official. Josu, 24 years old, a wildly talented player. Obviously a little frustrated today. This gives a boost for FC Cincinnati, gets Josu out playing on that yellow. And maybe FC Cincinnati in the remaining 25-ish minutes can get an attack or 2 going right now. Well, so holding on to a 1-1 match.
They've defended well, you know, they've done what they've had to and kind of answered the call on it. I think the biggest frustration for FC Cincinnati is, hey, let us get something from it. Stop calling the fouls on us, let us defend and get the ball back and try to create something in the attack.
Hildebrandt, after a foul was called inside of the box, will have a goal kick. 67th minute now. First substitution used by Alan Koch. It gives him a true 9 again after GB was sent off in the 42nd minute.
Gives you a guy that works his tail off as well, Tommy.
Yeah, no doubt. Koenig now with 6 goals on the season. Bone will get it forward onto the chest of Koenig. Hoyt will try to work it down the left side. Cleared out on the touchline by Farrell. Quick throw in for FC Cincinnati. Wiedemann with it, trying to get it to the attacking third. Walker looking to switch sides of the pitch. Intercepted by Rochester. The Rhinos looking for numbers the other way. Good job coming back by Matt Boehner.
Yeah, good job.
To pick it up.
They just got to be careful. They can't let frustration take over here.
Koenig and Wall fall with a little bit of contact. Play on. Dover on the near side. Into the middle, Turgu. Jalen Brown.
You can just see the eagerness from every FC Cincinnati player. There's definitely a level of emotion involved. You know, they're hungry to try to get something going here.
McLaughlin battling on the right side, out wide to Koenig. Koenig trying to thread the needle and find Matt Boehner. He nearly did. Wallfall turned it away off of Koenig. It'll be a goal kick for Gomez. 23,548 disappointed Cincinnatians right now with how things have played out, but another great crowd here in the Queen City. And with that number, FC Cincinnati now averaging over 20,000 fans per match this season. That's the first time a USL club has ever done that. We've said that a few times over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to say that, I would imagine, here for the orange and blue. McLaughlin up the left side. He has Wiedemann. Wiedemann with defensive pressure closing in. Gets in the box. Wiedemann trying to cross it, and Farrell did well defensively to not give him any options.
Well, Tommy, we talked about the crowd, and nothing surprises us. It's certainly not out of the possibilities that FC Cincinnati can keep this tight. We've seen it before. Score late.
Turgu with some room into the 18. Turgu with a right foot ripples the net just wide.
He almost killed my conversation and walked away with 3 points.
Yeah.
Good save by Mitch.
Hildebrand got a hand on it, so a corner kick coming. It's brought to you by the Levy Law Offices. Visit LevyLawOffices.com today. It comes in the 70th minute.
We talked about at the start about Mitch making the saves he has to. For a goalkeeper saving front post, it's a must. Another good reflection of that big save.
Forbes will send it into the middle. Barry is there to head it away. I think Austin's been very good tonight.
Yeah, he has.
Dover out wide to the right, James. James on the service. Headed away by Corbin Bone. McLaughlin and Wiedemann looking for numbers the other way. Jimmy out wide to Wiedemann. Then the white jerseys swarm him as the run comes to an end.
Rochester did a great job of getting back and kind of just delaying that attack. I think another thing about this guy on the ball, you talked about Austin having a good performance. I think he's been a really good leader tonight too.
Yeah. There's a reason he wears that captain's armband on a night when his team has needed leadership. Austin Barry certainly has provided it. Second sub coming here for Bob Lilly, as the chess match between these two managers will continue. Stefan DeFreger, the midfielder out of New Hampshire, played at Dartmouth.
They're going to go, forward to back here. We thought we'd see this sooner or later.
Koch made the tactical move early, resulted in a goal for McLaughlin to tie the match at 1 apiece. Now it is the turn of Bob Lilly to try to mix things up and find a go-ahead goal. FC Cincinnati pushing into the attacking third, a bit too long for McLaughlin. Quick throw-in from Ryan James. Freger, who just came on, will send it into the middle. Rochester in the white tops, left to right. Corbin Bone having to play more of a defensive midfielder role, gets tangled up. And Jalen Brown will be called for the foul. And Guido Gonzalez will get a round of applause from the fans here in the Queen City.
The longer this game goes on, it's definitely going to suit FC Cincinnati more. Just saw Rochester change. They're going to try to get something from it. FC Cincinnati are getting ready to make another change to provide what we talked about, those extra fresh legs.
Well, here comes the counter by Alan Koch after the move by Lilly. Kevin Schindler, the 6'3" German, will make his USL debut. He played in the friendly on Monday against Valencia, but his first league match in America. Schindler played at the highest level in Germany in the Bundesliga and replaces Jimmy McLaughlin. Bit of a size flip there. Schindler at 6'3", Jimmy at 5'8". So an 8-inch swing there as number 70 steps into the match.
As he tries to battle for that ball straight away. You know, you're looking at two players in attack now with Danny Koenig and himself. Presents a big challenge for any team. The more and more that we talked about with set pieces too.
All it would take is one here, and this might be it.
Yeah.
About 35 yards away, a handball is called on Rochester. Now suddenly you have a 6'3" target in there to go along with Harrison Delbridge, Austin Berry. Justin Hoyt will not come forward. He'll provide that preventative coverage. Danny Koenig. Plenty of options here for Kenny Walker. 75th minute will roll into as Walker will set to put his right foot on it.
He's got to test Gomez here. I talked about it earlier. He's got to try to bait him to come out a little bit.
Walker mishits it and puts it over the frame, trying to send it far post.
Yeah, it just overhits the ball. I'm sure he's going to be a little disappointed in himself with that.
What I think has been impressive since GB went off, you've seen Walker, and I talked about Barry's leadership, but everybody out there has been directing traffic, making sure that everybody in orange and blue is in the right spot.
100%.
When Rochester's coming the other way. Great communication tonight for the home side.
Yeah, and you know, up until this point, I think they've defended really well. You know, they've done what Allen's asked of them. Kept some good defensive shape. Now they're just with that change, Tommy. I think Allen's like, all right, I'll take a point. There's no reason I can't go after 3 though.
Absolutely. And Schindler is experienced enough that he'll know he has to get back. He's got to play defense. Nobody's pushing all forward here by any stretch of the imagination. Meanwhile, Rochester to the attacking third. Fall, looking back post.
To be offside, yeah.
Flag was up. Mitch knocked it away at the last moment, but the flag on the near side went up, and offside is the call. Schindler has now been in Cincinnati for 2 weeks, so he's had some opportunity to train with the club. Sem DeWitt, a defender, available tonight. He's been with the club just over a week. Played in the friendly. We didn't see Justin Hoyt on Monday night. Joked with him that it was old man's rest.
Yeah.
Harrison Delbridge resting as well. And then Josu unfortunately held out. He had some swelling in his ankle. Obviously didn't bother him at all tonight. And Tyler Pollock remains out with his foot injury. FC Cincinnati fans make a life-saving blood donation at Hawksworth Blood Center July 31st through August 5th and receive your exclusive Hawksworth Blood Orange FC Cincinnati shirt. Visit hawksworth.org/FCC to schedule. Wall fall into the 18, knocked down by Wiedemann, and a penalty is called. Wiedemann aggressive defensively inside of the box, and Guido Gonzalez points to the spot.
Well, just Fall being involved again adds a little bit more controversy to this game. There's definitely contact on the play, Tommy.
Wiedemann's asking for an explanation. That's another veteran out there for FC Cincinnati. We have the fortune to look at it again.
Yeah.
Too much of his body into him.
Yeah, just leans into him, overzealous to try to get the ball back.
Can Mitch Hildebrandt draw up another miracle here at Nippert? Fall has 4 goals on the season and will take this PK with 23,000 on their feet booing him. Fall to the left, tallies his 5th of the season and covers his ears as Rochester takes a 2-1 advantage.
I think he's going to get a yellow card for this, actually.
Yep. So Fall on the celebration.
He's calling it back. Interesting. He's already given him a yellow card.
And now Guido Gonzalez barking at him.
Yeah.
Well, Guido Gonzalez has made it clear he is the show tonight.
No doubt about it, Tommy.
It's unfortunate for the support on a beautiful night here. Bob Lilly is livid. Kenny Walker is not happy. And the star Guido Gonzalez signals ready for play. I'm not sure what is beyond bloody disappointing, Kevin, but we're on the verge of it.
Well, and we can't head on the arc.
Fair enough. That's when you know you're a veteran broadcaster, my friend. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, one of those things. What do you do next, right, for Alan Koch and his team?
Yeah.
He's got to be a bit more direct, obviously, with the play. There's no point in going build up. You're playing with 2 targets.
He's going to call Kyle Gregg into the game. That's going to be his 3rd sub.
He's got to go 3 at the back, most likely. You know, and you've just got to throw the dice.
Ryan James will work up the right side. Rochester now on top, 2-1 in the 80th minute. FC Cincinnati will have 10 minutes plus stoppage time. Trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat and find an equalizer.
Plenty of time left, Tommy. And you got to talk. I mean, for the penalty, I do think it was a penalty.
Right.
I don't think there's an argument in that at all. I think it's the other poor decisions that have come that have, you know, kind of totally changed that game. I think Andrew Wiedemann probably knows that it was a penalty.
Did not see a big argument from Wiedemann. He's going to call another one. Handball in the box. Now Austin Berry is furious. We're going to see another penalty kick in the 81st minute.
Such a bizarre game.
I'm going to have to see this replay. Schindler, I think they're saying, touched it with his hand, while Fall will take another. Well, see for ourselves. It's off his chest.
Oh, come on.
Guido Gonzalez and Austin Berry has just been booked. This is as bad as it gets, folks. It's not even close to touching his hand. Wallfall scores and covers his ears for the 2nd time tonight as he dances out to midfield. I'm sure Guido will have words with him once again to get the camera on him some more. 3-1 Rochester as Wallfall scores on a penalty kick for the 2nd time. You want to talk about the wheels completely falling off?
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a case of the wheels falling off, Tom. I think it's just bizarre.
I genuinely don't know what to say anymore.
No, here's the thing. You've got to feel for Alan Koch and this team. I feel like they've been hard done by. Feel bad for the almost 24,000 fans that came to watch this.
If you play straight up and lose 3-1,
that's fair, right?
You go back to the dressing room, you watch the film, you figure out how to get better going into the week.
Yeah.
But when an official makes himself the show,
right,
as Guido Gonzalez Jr. has done tonight, it's bad for the sport.
Yeah, it is.
Greg into the game. Schindler into the box. Schindler now asking for a penalty kick.
He's called a free kick just outside the box. He's going to talk. This could be the ultimate attempt at a makeup call.
Now remember, we had VAR last Saturday.
That's what I was talking about with the yellow card.
The yellow cards could not have been reviewed under those rules, just to be clear. See everybody around Alan Koch right now who is beyond livid on the FC Cincinnati bench. And they called a penalty. So after consulting with the linesman on the far side.
Sending somebody off here from the bench.
Yeah, I think the fourth official is sending off. Who got a yellow card? Dallas J. Wow. Well, Guido, you got me to say your name once again. To be fair, that wasn't his decision. Now Dallas J. not available for Saturday. Well, that's the call of the fourth official who came over and had Dallas J. sent off for a red card.
With all these stoppages too, Tommy, it's going to be very interesting to see what the added time is at the end of this game. Sending somebody else off.
I think they're sending Alan Koch off. No. Johan Dumais, assistant coach, has been sent off. I've called a lot of games in a lot of sports. I've never experienced a match so poorly officiated as what I have experienced in the last 2 hours.
Tommy, I wish I could say the same thing. I really do. But I've witnessed similarities. Yeah, it's a shame.
So Johan Dumais issued a red card. Dallas J. issued a red card. Meanwhile, Danny Koenig is going to take a penalty kick that could make this 3-2.
Yeah. Gives in
the 85th minute with probably 10 minutes still to be played. We'll see what Koenig can do here. I'm running out of space on my notebook to keep track of all of this.
Get the mental focus back here. He's got to tune in and try to put this away.
Koenig on the PK, buries it.
Great penalty.
7th goal of the season for Danny Koenig. It comes in the 86th minute. So 3-2, Rochester. All of a sudden, the orange and blue have hope.
I'm going to talk about the mental strength of Danny Koenig on this. Settles himself in the billy end, puts it away. That's a true professional right there, Tommy.
FC Cincinnati's going to come after him here.
Got to gamble, yeah. Got to press it.
Koenig and Greg flying up the field after all of that.
Certainly got momentum back here a little bit. Nippert Stadium's right behind him, Tommy.
Chance of FCC echoes throughout the building. Wiedemann going to throw it in the inside of the attacking third. Out to Kenny Walker. Walker chips it into the box. Greg trying to get to it will collide with Gomez. Guess who's going to the book? Guido Gonzalez. Why not? You get a card and you get a card and you get a card. It's like the Oprah show out here. 87th minute. Kyle Gregg into the books.
He's going to play blackjack later, Tommy.
Well, let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow cards, 2 additional red cards on members of FC Cincinnati's bench.
I can only imagine there's probably about 7-8 minutes of out of time.
Well, things have been lively down on the pitch, so let's go check in with Lindsay.
Yeah, guys, you can hear the fans out here, almost 23,000, probably on their feet, but there was a lot of frustration on the FC Cincinnati bench. Everybody on their feet wanting to know what's going on with some of these calls.
Well, a foul was called there as Jalen Brown pulled on Matt Boehner. FC Cincinnati will put it back into play, as Kevin was talking about, and thank you, Lindsay. Probably about 5 minutes of stoppage time. There has to be, with everything that has transpired. So looking at about 7 minutes remaining here. Koenig knocked off the ball by Ryan Felix. The amount of time we've talked about officiating tonight is pretty disgusting. Delbridge has it deflected away, and then Barry comes over to help and sends it back to Hildebrand.
Just got to be direct, you know, the way they've set up. Schindler been in there, obviously with Donnie Koenig as well, and Greg. You're not going to get points or goals for obviously style on this. They've got to try to make this as effective. We don't know if there's 2 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Well, the remainder of the game, put it that way.
Yes. 3-2 Rochester, a team that FC Cincinnati has never beaten, on top here at Nippert Stadium in the 89th minute. Don't even have to tell you who has possession as the boos come out from the 23,000 plus here at Nippert. Rochester will earn a corner and is going to take their time putting it back into play. Fallen Forbes knocking it around in the corner. And they will get another one.
The crowd in the corner there is getting pretty heated, it sounds like.
Hildebrand will send a goal kick in the 90th minute out to midfield. Forward for Koenig. 4 minutes of stoppage time. I mean, does that surprise you at this point?
No.
I wouldn't have been surprised if it was 2. Boehner sending it into the box. Nobody there. Turned away by Rochester, who is packing it in. James coming up the right side. I'm not sure how that ball came out, stayed into play. Delbridge with his signature tackle to end the run. Rochester going to take its time throwing it back in. Certainly has been an interesting night here at Nippert Stadium. And
listen, Tommy,
not in an enjoyable way.
And no fault to Rochester, really.
No, not at all.
I feel like they've been a good opponent, really.
Corbin Bone not happy. A little bit of an elbow there from Canardo Forbes. If GB's first yellow card was a yellow card, then that's a yellow on Canardo Forbes. It's the same thing, just fighting for a ball. It's a foul, sure. It's a yellow card, no.
Well, last couple of chances, obviously 4 minutes to try to test this back line of Rochester, go long with it. Come on.
Koenig's going to be called for a foul. Greg will set it in hopes that Rochester will put it back into play quickly. FC Cincinnati, since they lost to Rochester on June 3rd, has only lost once. That was on the road at Tampa. Remember, the Rhinos are a club that hasn't won on the road since April 1st. A little bit over a minute expired here in stoppage time. Rochester leading by a goal. Over the head of Delbridge. DeFreger's going to pull it to the corner and try to let some seconds tick off the clock. Delbridge touches it last, and throw-in, no, they're going to say DeFreger touched it last, so throw-in for FC Cincinnati. He'll have to work quickly. Praying for an equalizer, playing a man down. Graf out wide to DeFreger. Got
to be careful.
Walker comes sliding in. And again, the linesman is going to signal for a card. Why not add Kenny Walker to the mix? Walker picks up a yellow card.
There's their threshold.
Kenny Walker's 5th of the year. That will not end in a suspension, though, because he got the good behavior bonus and had one reduced because he went 5 matches without a yellow. So 5th of the season, but only the 4th in the eyes of the disciplinary committee, who's going to be a little busy tomorrow, I think, back at USL headquarters down in Florida.
I think, you know, regardless of the outcome of this game, too, I think Alan's going to try to keep his players calm.
Yeah.
There can't be any kind of repercussions after the game, you know, or additional sendings off that's going to hurt them.
Well, security just needs to get Guido Gonzalez into his changing room immediately following this match. You're right, so that there is no further conversation that he reports back to the league that could result in any other suspensions. You're already facing GB, Johan Dumais, and Dallas J suspended next Saturday.
You can imagine just my point on that, how frustrated these players are when that final whistle goes. If it results in a loss, I'm hoping there's not fireworks.
Rochester way offside. 1 minute about left in stoppage time. Although that is up to the decision of Guido Gonzalez, and I think everybody knows how we feel about his decision making so far tonight. Kenny Walker looking for one more opportunity. Into the box, sent into the middle. Greg keeps it alive. Someone trying to get a boot on it. And Greg's going to be called for a foul as Kenny Walker was teeing it up, trying to send it forward.
Greg's just trying to chase the ball down and does lean into him a little bit. It's a foul out.
Forbes slow to his feet. He'll let the clock run off.